Hey, welcome back everyone. In the last video, we went ahead and created a very rough draft of our vegetation layer. In this one, we're going to go ahead and create a file structure for our map mod. Now, this is not a hard and fast rule, but I do like using this file structure because this is effectively what I took from looking at Daddy Dirky Dirk's videos. You're welcome. I'll link him in the description below. Basically, it's the first, one of the very first, very complete playlists of how to make a map mod that was created. I think it was a couple years ago. That's what helped me get started on learning about modding. Anyways, the other source that I got was effectively the this reverse engineered version of the Zomboid full map, in essence. All right, so for that, let's go ahead and get started. So here, the name of the map, or the name of this folder right now in this place doesn't really matter. Later, it will matter because the name of this folder, especially if you just drag and drop, copy and paste, when we get into the workshop folders that are going to get uploaded into Steam, right? The name that is on the folder that you put there will be effectively the name that appears to other players for your mod. For now, this name doesn't matter. Later, it will matter. We'll talk about it again. But I just wanted to let you know so that if you keep working on your map's name, you can just workshop it while you're here. Workshop it while you're here with this. This is gonna not affect it in any way, shape, or form. Later, it'll matter. So, what do we call this map mod? As you can see, I have a bunch of weird random names. All of these folders you see here are different map mods that I've done and/or failed tutorials that I haven't finished or completed. So let's just call it something cool. So it looks like I have a square and some stripes in my vegetation layer. So I'm just going to call it Stripesville, because why not? So this is going to be the map mod folder that I'm going to move forward. You can call your map mod whatever you want. I'm just going to call it Stripesville for the sake of this video series. All right, so once I'm inside of this folder, I'm going to create a couple of things. So the first thing that I'm going to create is going to be a folder that is going to be called images. This was taken from Daddy Dirky Dirk's directions. I do enjoy this. This is where we're going to put our images, like the PNG that I told you we were going to export. That's where we're going to save this actual GIMP file. And then that's where we're going to be putting the other PNG, right? The base layer and the vegetation layer. Those are the two PNGs that I'm going to put in. The other thing that I'm going to do later in another video, we're going to put our zombie spawn map in there. So basically all of the images that are pertaining to your map will live here. The other thing that I'm going to create is going to be a TMX folder. TMX is a file type. Again, this name, either of these names, they don't matter. You can call them whatever you want. For my organization, I like calling them this. The TMX is going to be the files that are created by the world editor. We'll get there in a moment. These are the first two folders that I like creating. As we move forward with the project, we'll create more folders. For now, this is how I like starting. At this top layer, where we are right now, this is where we're going to save our world map when we use the world editor. TMX files will go inside of TMX, and any images are going to go inside of images. This is effectively how I like creating, or rather starting, a file structure for a map mod. With that being said, let's go ahead and start using this file structure by going to this GIMP file, and I'm going to hit Control S, or of course, that's going to be just save. You can find the shortcuts, as you know, on the side. Control S, and now it's going to ask me where to save. So, here's the thing that I didn't say, and I just realized because I used a shortcut to get here. Where I am creating these folders is inside of the Project Zomboid Modding Tools folder and within the World Editor folder. This is important because the World Editor folder has a bunch of different small files and support that helps make all this happen. It's also so that you have all of your map mods in one location. So how do we get to this Project Zomboid Modding Tools location on your computer? Assuming that you have a Windows computer, like I do, as I believe Zomboid for the most part is I think Windows and Linux. You want to go to the hard drive, where you know you downloaded Steam. Steam is going to be the main folder. I installed it in my R drive, so I just went under R. I put it inside of a folder called Games, and that's where I put my Steam folder. Where Steam installs itself is inside of people's C drive. So go to C drive and go ahead and find your Steam folder. If you're not sure where your Steam folder is and you never mess with it or anything, just Google, right? Go to Google. This is important for like making map mods and for just like general programming, doing stuff online. Just go to google.com. And then we can search default location for Steam folder. And then, you know, you can look your operating system. You see here it says Windows 11, Windows 10. I have a Windows 10, so I would click here. Now, remember the top image in these lately whatever, the top search results for a lot of these search engines are AI generated. So I always ignore that because sometimes they can make stuff up. But this first link here, you can see that it's going to be in C, program files, x86, and then Steam. So that's going to be where the default location for Steam is. So hooray. Just wanted to show this is how I would Google for things. The rest of this file path is actually also correct. We're going to go to Steam. We're going to go to Steam apps. We're going to go to common. And inside of the common name for the Steam apps, that's where we're going to find Project Zomboid modding tools. And inside that, we find the world ed. So all of this, because when I'm going to save this image, I'm going to go ahead and go to the hard drive that has my games. Games, I find my actual Steam folder. Then from here, we're going to go to apps, right? Steam apps, common, here. And then here are the common names for all the games here. We're going to find Project Zomboid modding tools. Then here's the world editor. And then here are the names of all of my map mods. We're going to go ahead and find Stripesville, right? That's the one for our project that we're working today. And here's images in TMX. This, what we're saving here, this is going to be the GIMP image. So we're going to go ahead and go inside of images. This is where we want to save it. This XCF extension, that's the GIMP extension. This is not what we will be using to actually import it into the world editor. This is just what's going to keep track of all of our layers and all of that, so we can come back and make changes as we want, save our progress, etc. I'm going to go ahead and call this Stripesville base map. The naming convention does not matter. You can call it whatever you want. I just called it something like that because eventually I want the XCF file to be distinct from my actual PNGs. I have gotten confused when trying to save things, and the more if you confuse yourself with naming conventions, you are more likely to override things you do not want to override. So always make things distinct when they can be distinct, and they're going to live in the same file. All right, cool. So that's effectively the file structure. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and export the two layers that I mentioned earlier. So first, I'm going to go ahead, since we have the vegetation layer here, I want to make sure all of my vegetation layers are visible. We have a black background with any drawings that we had. If, for example, you didn't draw any dense forest because you were like, well, I don't know what my forest is going to look like, exporting a black image is perfectly okay. So I'm going to hit Control-Shift-E. Again, if I go to File, you'll notice that Export As is Shift-Control-E. That's the shortcut. So this is going to now export a PNG image. This is going to be our vegetation one, because I don't know why I'm doing vegetation first, but we're doing it. So then this is going to be the image that we're going to use for our vegetation layer. I'm going to call it Stripesville, and remember, _veg, all lowercase. That's what I believe I said in the last video, is that this name has to be the same for both files, the vegetation layer and the base layer. The main difference is that the vegetation layer must have _veg at the end. So just to double check where I am in my computer, this is the images folder inside of Stripesville. Therefore, I'm going to go ahead and save this _veg in there, export. It's going to go ahead and pop this up, leave everything as default, and hit export. We've done it. Anything that is visible in your project, when you hit export, that is what will be exported. It's kind of like if you're taking a snapshot of what's visible. This is why this was the vegetation. Export PNG. If I click on the eye here to make all vegetation layers invisible, and we only have our base visible, then when I click Control-Shift-E to export the next image, again, see how it says PNG, this is going to be the base image with only the green on the grass. So I need to make sure that the name is the same, but it does not say _veg. So it must be Stripesville. If you're not 100% sure, or instead of typing it, I recommend selecting your other matching file, right? Whether it's the other one, and then either adding or removing _veg. So in this case, I'm removing _veg because this is my base layer. So I'm going to hit export again. When this pops up, I leave everything as default and hit export again. So now if we look at my files here, so here we're in Stripesville. If I open up my images, I have 3 images. Stripesville, that's going to be just the base, Stripesville _VEG, and then this is the base map that opens up GIMP. The last thing I wanted to point out is when you save Stripesville and Stripesville Veg, or whatever you call it, it is case sensitive. I put a capital S there, it must have a capital S there, and so on and so forth. The only thing that should not be the same is _VEG, which should be all lowercase. Cool. With that being said, we're ready to go ahead and move into the world editor. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and open up the world editor, drag these 2 images in there, and then go ahead and render our first kind of view of tiles. Exciting. All right, we'll see you in that video. Bye-bye.